Okay, please make sure that you are filling out this survey. It should have happened in your academy class. If you're not sure if you took it, just take it again. If you know you did it, that's fine, but if you are not sure, please take it. So right now, go ahead and click on this survey right here and fill this out. Fill out the form, okay? So just fill this form out, turn it in, submit. We absolutely need this ASAP. So I'm gonna pause for a minute while I let you guys do that. And then we will get started on the notes. Okay. All right, guys, so we're gonna review some of the key things and we're gonna solve some of these questions. Now, to be perfectly honest, we're gonna try to not use the quadratic formula unless we absolutely have to. We're gonna do a quick review of how to simplify these because most of us were struggling with the simplification step. Wow, that's even worse. All right, guys, give me any two numbers that can go into 36. 6 and? Good. I have two of them that are the exact same, and that's when you get to take it outside. Well, move up, because I zoomed in as much as I can. Now, what if I had something like the square root of... what if I did 27? Yeah, you're done. That's the whole problem. This is a review from Algebra 1. Break down 27. Give me any two numbers.
27 or 9 and 3.
Like, do you hear that? Am I crazy?
No, I don't hear anything.
You really don't hear that?
No, I do.
Seriously?
I don't hear nothing.
Okay. I'm crazy. Two numbers. I got 3 and 9. Give me two more. Break down the 9 some more. 3 and 3. Okay, so I can take one of the 3's out, but see how I have a leftover? That leftover stuck inside. The 3 is going to stay on the outside. We're going to come to it in a second. Break down that 64. Give me two numbers. 8 and 8, yeah. So it's going to be 3, because from the outside, and 8 from the inside. What's 3 times 8? 24. That's it. Your answer is 24. The 4 is going to be stuck, so it stays on the outside, and then we're going to break this down. Break down the 75. Give me any two numbers to 75. I like that, because that makes me think of quarters, right? Break down that 25. Okay, that's the same, right? So the 5 can come on the outside. Now this m squared, how many times do I need to write m squared? M to get m squared. So I have 2 m's. What's the only thing that hasn't been used? The 3. So it's stuck on the inside. What's 4 times 5? 20m square root 3. That's your answer. I'm pausing dramatically so that you guys can get that all written down and to let Mauricio have a moment to get caught up a little bit. All right. This is a negative on the outside. We're now going to break this down. Okay, you guys? 36. Give me two numbers. 6 and 6. Break down the x. How many times do I got to write it? Y'all. Twice. How many times do I write the y? I got a group, I got a group, I got a group. This negative stays. The 6 comes, the x comes, the y comes. Do I have anything left on the inside? No. So this is my whole answer. Yep, 6xy. Negative 6xy. Because there was a negative on the outside. That negative is coming down. Okay. I'm going to slide up. Okay, you guys. Step 1 is we need to get the equation in standard form. This has to be 0. If it's not 0, you can't do anything. You have to get that as a 0 first. This is your A, this is your B, this is your C. You with me? Now, I'm going to tell you, this formula is my last resort. So I'm going to think of this as last resort. It works every single time. It works when you have to complete the square. It works when you need to square root. It works when you need to factor. It works when you need to, basically any technique this works for. I just don't want to have to use that formula unless I have to. Please think of this negative in front of that B. Please think of that as the opposite. Please write that in your journal. In your notes, I want that written with the arrow that says opposite. The opposite of B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Now I'm going to solve this with the quadratic formula, and then I'm going to show you a way to avoid the quadratic formula. You may do either.
So you do that, you plug it in, you're going to get the answer.
Every time. Okay, so we're going to do the opposite of negative 4 plus or minus the square root, negative 4 squared minus 4AC all over 2A. Pause dramatically.
X equals
Negative negative 4 plus or minus the square root, parentheses negative 4, outside of the parentheses a squared, subtract 4 times 4 times negative 48, big fraction bar under everything, and 2 times 4. It is a lot. All right. This is not what I wanted. Oh well, I'm gonna leave it. All right, let's go. What's a negative negative? So 4 plus or minus, what's 4 squared? Nope.
16.
What's a negative times a negative? Then use a calculator. 4 times 4 times 48. What's 2 times 4? Now, a lot of people make the mistake, they try to cross stuff out like this. You can't cross it out unless you can cross it out of each thing. And you have to get it outside the square root before you can cross it out. So what's 16 plus 768? Use your calculator. 16 plus 768.
768.
768 plus 16.
768.
Now you guys, use your calculator and see if it has a nice square root. This one does. I don't know if you can see it, but it's 28. Square root of 784 is 28. So I have, now I'm purposely not writing right here, I'm saving this space. I have 4 plus or minus 28 over 8. You guys with me? What's 4 plus 28? What's 4? What's 32 divided by 8? 4. What's 4 take away 28? You're so close. What are we forgetting? The negative sign. What's negative 24 divided by 8? Negative 24 divided by 8? Negative 3. Okay, you guys see how you have your two answers? X equals 4 and negative 3. Can I show you a faster way? If you can factor it, do factor it. So I'm going to take us to here. You guys with me? I've got a couple of different options. I'm honestly going to take a 4 out of the whole equation. And then I just do my fat x. Negative 12, negative 1. Give me some numbers. Two numbers that multiply to 12 and add to negative 1. Can I, yeah, give me two numbers that multiply to 12.
So number that multiply 12?
Yeah, two numbers that multiply to 12. What?
3 and 4.
4 and 3. Which one needs to be negative if I need it to add to negative 1? Negative 4. Because, right, negative 4 plus 3 gives me negative 1. So this is a throwback. That's because you haven't done all the assignments yet, baby. And then you just solve. X equals 4, x equals negative 3. Can you guys see how that was much easier than that one? So this is our factoring method. So this is from factoring. I 100% check if I can factor it first. If I can factor it, I do. If I can't, then I have to do this guy. But I try to avoid quadratic formula at all costs. When you're ready, open to the inside.
Does that say negative 3?
Where?
X equals negative 3?
What?
Does that say x equals negative 3? On the bottom?
Here?
No, right above factor.
Yes. Okay, I still see like 3 people writing. Holloway, we good? Diego, we good? Okay, open it up. Okay, what's our first step? What's our first step? Standard form. Okay, is this in standard form? We need it to look like this where it's equal to 0. So what do I need to move? The 28 to the other side. Okay. Now, do you guys want to jump straight to quadratic, or do we want to check and see if we can factor it? Okay, I'm going to show you. I'm going to factor it. What goes in the bottom? What number goes in the bottom?
0.
Nope.
3.
3 times negative 28. What goes in the top? Negative 5. I don't have to know what 3 times negative 28 is. I'm never actually going to care about that number. But I know I'm going to have 3. I'm going to break down the 28 as 4 and 7. Okay, I could do 21 and 4. I could do 12 and 7. Are there any of those that would get me to a 5? Is there any way to add or subtract 21 and 4 to get to a 5? No? What about 12 and 7? If I put these together, I would have 12 and 7. How could I get to a negative 5? Which one needs to be negative? The 12. The bigger number matches this sign. So if this was positive, that would be positive. If this is negative, that's negative. Okay, so now what do we do? What goes here? N minus 12. N plus 7. Right? Remember how we multiplied by that 3? We divide by that 3.
Multiply with 3.
That 3 in front, we multiplied to that 28.
Okay.
So we divide by it now. What's 12 divided by 3?
4.
Does this go nice? Does that reduce or do anything nice?
No.
So shove that 3 in front.
That's easy.
Almost. N minus 4 equals 0. 3n plus 7 equals 0. How do I get that n by itself? Nope. Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. We know it's not divide, so what else?
Multiply.
Nope.
Divide.
What is it doing right now?
Oh, I think it's 3. Adding.
What do I do? What do I do?
Divide.
Nope. What do I need to move first?
You subtract.
Subtract the 7. And now you can do your division with the 3. You were ready for that one. If I can do this, I do this. So even if it says solve using the quadratic equation, just use whatever's easiest, as long as you can show the steps and you understand what you're doing. Okay, I am going to solve it with the quadratic formula just so you have it as an example. You do have to write it on notes. You do not on your assignment. So if you solve it like this on your assignment, that's good.
It's easier like that.
It's way easier. But because this is on quadratic, I want you to understand how to do it this way. So the opposite of b, what's my b?
Opposite B. 3. No.
That's your a. Negative 5. So I'm going to plug that in for all the places that I'm supposed to put b. What is my a? What's my a? What's your a, guys? What's your number in front of your n squared? Y'all, what's this number? Number in front of your n squared. What's my a? Thank you. What's my c? Negative 28. What's a negative negative make? What's 5 squared? Negative 5 squared. What's negative 5 times negative 5? 25. And then what's a negative times a negative? And then use a calculator and tell me what 4 times 3 times 28 is. Times 28. What's 2 times 3? What is 336 plus 25?
361.
Does 361 have a nice, does that come out nice as a square root? How you can find out is you get the square root right here, or you can't even see where I'm pointing. You're going to press Control, and then there's a square root. I don't know if you can see it. Do you see that yellow part? That's that. You press that button, and it shows up as a square root. And then you're just going to put 361. Came out nice. Okay? If I did a number that doesn't come out nice, it's going to give me a decimal. See how it came out nice? So we're going to use 19. So now I have 5 plus or minus 19 over 6. What is 5 plus 19? Holloway, what's 5 plus 19?
24.
What's 24 divided by 6?
4.
Good. See how we got the same number? What's negative 19 plus 5? Or 5 take away 19? Negative 14 divided by 6. I can take a 2 out of both of those. And I get negative 7 over 3. So you're going to get the same answer no matter which way you do it, as long as you don't mess up your math. Okay. Number 7. Is this in standard form? Is this in standard form, y'all? No. What do we need on the right side? That needs to be what?
Blue.
It does, because we need this to be a 0. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. Everything else comes down. What's 13 take away 9? Thank you. Now, quick check. Can we factor this? 5 times 4 and 11. There's no way that 5 and 4, right? Those add together to make 9. So that's not going to get me 11. I could multiply them and have 20. I could try 20 and 1. There's no way that's going to get me 11. And I could try 10 and 2, but that's going to get me 12, not 11. So we cannot factor it, so I'm stuck doing the quadratic formula. It's my only option. So, again, opposite of b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. What's my b?
Number.
What's my, 4 is your C. A, B, C.
Oh,
It's 11. What's your A? 5. Negative 11 is still negative. What's 11 squared? What's 11 squared, y'all? 11 times 11 is? Thank you very much. 4 times 5 times 4. What's 4 times 5?
100.
Almost. What's 4 times 5? 20. What's 20 times 4?
80.
What's 2 times 5?
Okay.
Simplify if you can. What's 21 take away 80? 10. Now we want to simplify that 41 if it's possible. I'm going to show you a little trick on your calculator. Do you guys have the yellow calculators? Do you want me to pause so you can grab one? So this is a good trick if you need to factor something and you don't know the factors. I'm like trying to block the glare. Go to menu. Go to number. And then go to factor. Menu 2, 3. And then you can put in any number you want. So for example, if like we needed to factor earlier, wasn't it 361? It's going to show me that it's 19 squared. Let me just... So menu 2, 3, menu 2, 3. When I put in 41, trying to see if I can you guys see how 41 doesn't have any factors? Okay, so this is really useful when you need to, like, when we needed to factor on the front. Let's say you didn't know the factors of all of these. Let's say you couldn't figure out the factors for 64. Menu 2, 3, if I put in the 64, it's going to break it down and tell me 2 6 times. Does that make sense? So I could have done
Or 6 3 times?
no. It could have told me that this would be 1 2 3 4 5 6. Make sure you put your multiplication symbols in there. And then I'd have 2 groups, 3 groups of 2. So I would have 2 times 2 times 2, and that's where I get the 8 from. So if you are struggling with knowing what goes into things, this is a really good trick. So please write down over here, menu, number, factor. And I'm okay if you want to put the shortcut of 2 3 up there, but I want you to have those words written down. So this is 41 and 1. What's it called when the only factors are itself and the number 1? What's it called when it doesn't factor?
What number?
Prime. It's a prime number. I'll pause while you write that down. And when you're ready, flip the page.
So that's the answer?
That's the answer. That's both answers. They could write it twice. Make sure it has the plus and minus. If they don't have the plus and minus, they should have it written out long ways. where one of them has a plus in the middle and the other has a negative in the middle. When you're ready, flip the page. Oscar, phone, away. All right, you guys. How can I solve that besides using the quadratic formula? Can you guys think of an easier way?
Yeah.
What do I do? Divide by what?
5.
What's with the b? The 7. So divide by the 7. So I've got b squared. Holloway, what's on the right?
5.
Over. How do I get rid of that square? Anybody? Square root, thank you. When I add in the square root, what do I need to remember? Da, 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 da. I'll give you a hint. It's right there. Plus and minus. Don't forget plus and minus. Your answer's not going to look like this, though. They're going to think of this like this. Am I allowed to have a square root in the bottom? How do I get rid of it? You multiply top and bottom by the square root of 7. It's called rationalizing the denominator. What's 5 times 7? What is 5 times 7? Holloway, put it away. That's it. That's it. Way easier than having to do the whole quadratic formula, right? Okay, break it down now. Is this in my standard form? Move the 12. What's 11 take away 12? Negative 1. A, B, C. Now, y'all, we could do a quick check and see if we can factor this. Right? This would be 12 times negative 1 and a 2. Well, I could try 6 and 2. I could try 3 and 4. I could try 12 and 1. But there's none of those. That's 4 apart. That's 1 apart. That's 11 apart. There's no way to get a 2 from any of those. So I'm stuck with the quadratic. Let's plug it in. What goes in my first parentheses? 2. What goes in my second set? 2. What goes here? Good. What goes here? And what goes on the bottom? A. So if it helps, always, that's the formula you're going to be using over and over and over again. Is this going to be a positive or a negative? Negative 2, I think. Just stays negative, y'all. Plus or minus. What's 2 squared? Okay. What's negative 4 times positive 12?
Negative
40, negative 40, negative 48, and then times that by negative 1. What's 2 times 12? What's 4 plus 48? Can I cross that 2 and 24 out? Nope. I can't unless I can cross a 2 out of this group too. So we got to break down this 52. Let's break it down. Use menu number factor and tell me what you get. Menu number factor.
Square root of 2 times 13.
Okay, so 2 squared, 13. So because that's 2 squared, that's 2 2's. So the 2 can come out and the 13 is stuck. So this is going to replace all of this. And now we can cross a 2 out of everything. I can take a 2 out of here, a 2 out of here, and a 2 out of here. So this is going to be -1 plus or minus the square root of 13 over 12. And that is it. That's the whole thing.